back on Australian soil to the strains of Ennio Morricone's spaghetti western theme for the good, the bad and the ugly.
Everywhere I go in this country, people tell me the same thing. People tell me they're working harder for less.
Pauline Hanson before an adoring audience of WA business figures who lapped up her lionisation of billionaire backer Gina Rinehart.
This is a woman that's done it tough. And I don't know if you know her story. I suggest you go and read it and understand it. And you think that she's come with a silver spoon. She didn't. She had to borrow everything and was flat out in the very start to pay the bills.
The One Nation leader's return to home ground has capped a whirlwind tour of the UK and one of Italy's fanciest seaside resorts, where she was spotted poolside with Rinehart. It's been a journey worthy of Barry McKenzie. Pauline Hanson has stirred headlines and emotions alike.
You might have heard I've been in Britain. The media got very excited about who I sat down with over there.
A reference to a podcast she did with controversial far-right activist and convicted criminal Tommy Robinson, real name Stephen Yaxley Lennon.
I have the great pleasure of meeting a lady I've looked up to for years. There's some people who have been in this battle for a long time.
A figure so dubious he's been shunned by Hanson's populist fellow traveller, reform leader Nigel Farage.
I've seen some crazy videos coming out of Australia. How has that happened when you have such a strong immigration policy?
Well, it started in 1973 with Gough Whitlam. So they opened up and got rid of the White Australia policy. Then they started bringing in the different migrants.
There was a visit to Luton, north of London, supposedly swamped by Muslims.
This is not Great Britain to me, and that's why I'm going to protect Australia.
In between, she made time for an Instagrammed beer with performer turned political activist Holly Valance.
I'm rolling now. Are you everyone ready?
Another podcast with former Tory Prime Minister Liz Truss, and a speech to the Conservative Political Action Conference in London, where she railed against gender politics.
Common sense has been pushed to one side, and we're worried about everyone's feelings, where the majority of people know how, what is right, what is wrong.
Throughout her trip, Pauline Hanson has enjoyed a Trump-like grip on political attention. But her rising profile has also meant that she's faced greater scrutiny and a domestic backlash that has been left largely to her star recruit to defend.
You're defending your leader, but are you really comfortable with where she is taking you?
I think... Sit down! Sorry, it's a dog.
I laughed, it's funny. That's Barnaby. This is why I love the people around me. We're just human.
She knows that she lives and dies by the media attention she gets.
Ben Moffat studies populist movements around the world.
I think we can see that the more media attention that she's gotten, she's also starting to face more serious scrutiny.
Which may become a problem, he says, as her recently acquired supporters include people who may not be Hanson loyalists.
One Nation's kind of filling the void, right place, right time. But that suggests to me that that is a very soft vote.
That vote is so high, there's got to be a lot of ordinary, decent Australians who are supporting One Nation because they're absolutely furious with the existing political parties.
Peter Beattie is one of only a handful of Australian leaders who knows what it takes to defeat Pauline Hanson in an election. He lays the blame for her current rise on the poor performance of major parties, including his own, Labor.
People are just worried about their future. People want certainty. And that's why, in a sense, One Nation has become a home, because Pauline Hanson's sort of throwing all the toys out of the cot, if you like, and people want that because they're sick of politics as usual.
The former Queensland Premier says he eventually prevailed over One Nation by focusing on voters' needs.
Don't forget, when One Nation ran against in Queensland in 1998, the Labor Party lost more seats than the Conservatives did.
Labor appears to have 44, the Nationals and Liberals 31 between them, One Nation a probable 10.
So both parties can be damaged out of this, but when we got elected and we were a minority government, we actually went out, talked to One Nation supporters, went to all their electorates, listened to what they wanted, and built things in regional communities. This is actually solvable by the major political parties if they'd actually tackle the challenges head on.
Many One Nation watchers are also expecting the party's momentum to eventually fade, because that's been the pattern in the past. Pauline Hanson is simultaneously the party's greatest strength and weakness.
The problem is she can't avoid some of those silly mistakes. She just goes too far and she stretches the concept Australians have about a fair go, where they don't want to see someone done in.
Now, if you want to be a serious contender for opposition, you can't just rail against Muslims for the whole time, and you can't just go on far-right podcasts. You need to put forward some kind of wider policy, and whether that's economic issues, whether that's social policy, that's what you need to do.
He says her trip is part of a broader global political shift.
Populist radical right parties and far right parties around the world are increasingly banking on their transnationalisation. They are learning from one another, they are joining together in networks, they are sharing strategies. It's signalling, I guess, to the world, the wider radical right world, Pauline's back.
I never thought I'd ever see One Nation at the level of support that they have now. But that's because the major political parties are not performing and dealing with the issues that ordinary Australians are concerned about. When they start doing that, then One Nation support will dissipate and they will go through the normal self-destruct processes.
For all the angst over One Nation's revival, Peter Beattie thinks there'll be one of two outcomes at the next election. Labor holds on to power, or One Nation supports a minority coalition government.
If Barnaby Joyce was leading One Nation, they would be a bigger threat, in my view, because while Barnaby has his idiosyncrasies, he's smarter.
If I was ever in that position, which could happen at the next election, to take on the position of being Prime Minister of this country, I could do it. I have no doubt about that.